Reality After Dark. It's your boy, and I'm here. I don't know, this could be a short one or this could be a longer one, depending on how it goes. But I don't have plans for this to be a long live. I just wanted to share something that I was speaking about with somebody on, what day was this? Tuesday or Wednesday today. Make that Monday. Hi, Trivicity. I was speaking to a friend on Monday about my circumstances, and that friend was telling me something or asking me a question that I intend today, as a matter of fact, I intend today to spend some time answering for myself, which was, in your most ideal life, or in your most ideal life or world or whatever, what does that look like for you? Like, if you were into a 3-month window, hi Tricity, if I didn't say that. If you were able to look at your life, let's say 3 months from now or 6 months from now, in its most ideal form, what would that look like for you? Where would you live? What would your typical day be like? What would your finances look like? What would your health be like? Fitness, the ideal people around you, and I was like, you know what? That is actually a really great question that I don't have answers to, and I feel like the fact that I don't have any answers to that question, not that I don't have any answers to the question, but the fact that I don't have a thorough answer to that question in my mind is probably a part of the reason why nothing has changed drastically in the past 5 years. Because I remember 6, 7, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, I had answers to those questions. So everything that was happening in my life at present, it was just happening at present. But in my mind, I was thinking 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. My drive was different. So I could be sitting in a spot right now, but I was always thinking, where do I want to go from here? So that's why I was always making progress towards my goals. Life got so demanding, taxing, busy, and overwhelming that it got to the point where I was on a path that I didn't really care for. I didn't care for the path that I was on, but I kept going on that path just because I was like, this is probably the easiest thing for me to do. Not easy in terms of my life was easy, but easy in terms of like staying on this path is easier than me pushing to be on a greater one. That is a good question. Now is a great time to create the future you want. Yeah, so as hard as things have been, I am at least trying to look at it as an opportunity to forge my path, an opportunity to change the direction. I said this the other day. You'll never get to the destination that you want by staying on the train longer. I can't even tell you just how long it's been, but it has been a while since I have felt like the train is on the right tracks. It has been a while. A long while. In 2018 and in what were the 2 years? 2016, maybe 2016 and 2018. I had 2 public speaking events. In those public speaking events, I was discussing my journey through mental health. And that was something that I wanted to do, was motivational speaking. I mean, I have done some motivational speaking since then, but not in the sense of I created the series that I want. It's just that here and there, people who know that I do that sometimes ask me for that. We in the move again, I see. Hi, Palaver. Hi, Vicky. I don't know what that means. I don't speak that language. Well, unfortunately, if I can't understand it, then you can't stay in my chat. Yeah, so being intentional about your steps means that you're going to go in a direction that you planned to go. I remember something that I was told by my personal trainer years ago when I had this particular personal trainer. I remember he was talking to me about the lack of progress that I had made, or the fact that I was going in the other direction. And this was during the holiday season, like once you get into Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year. So I was telling him that it's difficult to maintain my health and fitness, my diet, or my nutrition plan, and my exercise routine when all the family is in town. And I gave him the example. I was like, my sister came to town, which she does every Christmas, and she spent maybe a week with me at that time, with me and my mom. But particularly more with me than my mom. At that time, my mom was working still. She was still working full time. And she was like, hey, let's go to Manhattan. Let's go here, let's go here, let's go here. Let's just do this, let's do that. We went to a lot of restaurants. Nothing in the restaurants that I got was part of my meal plan, of course, and the things that we were doing were kind of all-day things. So I didn't go to the gym, I don't think, at all during that time when she was here. And then I was like, and then also the meals that we had for that holiday. The meals were just a lot of foods that weren't things that I had on my meal plan, of course. And then we had a huge meal and leftovers and stuff. And I was just like, how do you even maintain when the people around you are not on what you're on. In other words, she didn't have any nutrition plans. She didn't have any fitness goals of the time. Like, what do you do? So then, oh, well, unfortunately, um, I just don't keep people in the chat if I can't understand them. It's no shade to them or anything like that. But if you come on the chat and everything in the chat is another language, and I don't speak that language, then it's just disrupting the chat. Nothing wrong with this person. They can continue to watch, but in terms of like being in the chat, I go through that at least once a day at this stage. But anyways, what he told me is your sister in charge of what you want out of your life? I was like, what do you mean? He was like, okay, so when she comes and she's like, let's go to Applebee's, or let's spend the day out on the town and let's eat here, here, and here. Like, let's do this and let's do that. What do you say? And my answer was pretty much, I'm like, she's only here for a week and she wants to do those things, bonding time or whatever. I just go along with it. And then he said, yeah, so during that week, it's your sister. During a work week, when they bring all this food to the break room, and then they have like a luncheon or whatever, you're gonna do what? Eat all that food that's there because it's there and it looks tasty and you want to eat it. And then another time, it could be your significant other, or it could be a friend, or it could be your birthday, or it could be this or that. Like, he was basically telling me that there's always going to be a variable like that. There's always going to be somebody to pull you away from a goal that you set for yourself. So he said, if you sit in a boat and you don't have a paddle, then you're going to just end up wherever the currents take you. So he was telling me about just taking accountability and ownership of the pieces of your life, deciding where you want to go before you get in the boat, and then taking the paddle and guiding yourself there. And it's something that was simple, and it was about fitness in that particular instance, but it was profound all at the same time, because it's something that I've thought about in different aspects in life, and it's something that applies to right now. I feel like if you are just going where the currents take you, which I feel like I've been doing for the past 5 years, then you're just at the mercy of wherever the currents are going to take you. And they're usually not going to take you to that beautiful destination that you're trying to go to or that you want to be at. They're probably going to take you over the waterfall or something. You can end up somewhere that you didn't want to be or didn't plan to be. Understandable, mark out a protected platform. Nice, Chivasity, muy bien. Oh, shoot. So, yeah, that's where I am at. That question that he asked me, that this friend asked me this week, was a good one. And one that I am going to spend some time thinking about. Where do I want to be and the steps that it will. For the next 4 days after today. So I don't even think I'll really do a traders recap. I don't know if I'll get to see the traders. I probably won't. And if I don't, I will probably not even watch this week's episode. I'll probably double up on episodes, which is fine, which is good actually. Um, but yeah, I won't be here after tomorrow. I probably won't be here after tomorrow, which is cool. I haven't taken a break from the page in a little while. It's not going to be a long one, and I'll possibly still post videos, but I don't think I'll be going live for a little bit. And this funeral is going to be a hard one also because not specifically because I was all that close with this particular uncle, but at the same time, my dad in total, including him, there were 9 children. And I believe that with the loss of this one, there's going to be like two, two left. He was a twin brother. My uncle that I just lost was a twin brother of another one who is also still alive, who is still alive, I should say. And what are they, 81? I think they turned 81 last year, if I'm not mistaken. And I just saw both of them last summer at my cousin's wedding in Virginia. So, weddings and funerals, man. Weddings and funerals. Oh, your parents were fluent? My dad spoke, I don't know, 11 languages fluently, something crazy like that. Spanish being one of them. He spoke fluent Spanish, French, multiple African dialects. My dad was the language person. My dad, because my sister is a language person also. She doesn't speak as many as him, but she speaks like 3 or 4. I have never really had that gift. I can understand a half decent amount of French. and a little bit of Spanish, but not much. The funeral is Friday morning. The funeral is Friday morning, so I'll be there. I will be over there, and I'll be back on Sunday. I'll be out Thursday through Sunday. My aunt actually, his wife died last year in February, I think, and he lasted about 11 to her. So it's so sad for my cousins, really, to lose two parents in a year. Even though this particular one was very sick for a very long time and way, way, way outlived his life expectancy, just the mere fact of losing two parents back to back in the span of under a year, I can only imagine that kind of pain. Because I know after losing my dad, my next thought was like, I couldn't bear if anything happened to like mother or my grandmother. I can get through it. You know what? The first time that I moved, that I, to this country, that if you don't speak that language, it's like a foreigner. So I stayed in northern Miami, which I think is where Miami Airport is, like towards northern Miami, which I didn't know the difference until I booked, my hotel. I was like, I'm gonna book my hotel near the airport, not realizing that nobody really stays near the airport. Like no tourist really stays near the airport, because if you're trying to go to Miami Beach, like the airport is not close to Miami Beach. And I remember like being over there, everybody spoke Spanish. I mean, I was hard pressed to find somebody in that area who spoke English. I was like, this is crazy. I feel like I'm actually in Mexico or Cuba. Like I remember they had this store. It looked like CVS, but it was called Navarro. And I walked in there. I remember I was asking some of the workers there, like I was trying to find something. I don't remember. Let's say I was trying to find some Tylenol pills. Oh, excuse me, do you have any Tylenol pills? Okay? Like people were looking at me like I had two heads. I remember when I was trying to go places because I didn't rent a car, I was calling Ubers. And I experienced a nightmare one night where I was not familiar with the area. I typed in, so my hotel, I had the name of the hotel, but there was like multiple chains of that hotel within the same vicinity. And somehow I got my wires crossed and I had the wrong address in Uber. I had the wrong address in my Uber app for the hotel, and then the person dropped me there. And then I go in, I'm like, oh shoot, this is not my hotel. So I had to call another Uber to get me to my hotel. And I was trying to tell the driver I'm from town and I'm place that I'm staying to speak a lick of English. So this guy dropped me somewhere else. I think it took about four Ubers and half the night for me to actually get to my hotel. It was a nightmare. I grew up with a French speaking family, so we do the mixing of English and French. My sister grew up in a French part of Africa, a French speaking part of Africa before I was born, and then went to French speaking schools for the first I don't know, 10 years of her life. So that's why she can speak fluent French. My dad is a language person, like I said. My mom also lived in that French speaking part of Africa. So I'm the lone person of the family that does not speak fluent French. See, it's totally like that there in Florida. I second that. We'll keep it in the thoughts. Thank you, Palaver. And while traveling and culture. My dad was so funny about languages because people assumed that he spoke his African languages. He's African, but they didn't know that he spoke fluent Spanish, or they didn't know that he spoke fluent French. The only places that knew those things were if he was applying for a job, and the job gave him some kind of a higher pay for knowing those things. Then he would let them know, but he would always tell me that knowing different languages is a power. So he encountered many scenarios where he would sit in rooms where people would be saying things about him or saying things in general that they, you know how sometimes teach a language be like, okay, I assume that this person doesn't speak Spanish. So now let me say this to this other person in Spanish, so the person who doesn't speak Spanish doesn't understand what is being said. And he would be the one to actually sit there while those people switch the language and listen to the whole conversation and know everything that they're saying, but they don't know that he knows. Which African country? Ivory Coast. They lived in Ivory Coast for a time. Recently did stuff. that is that is funny. That is why you're so spicy. That is funny. Spain, that's interesting. I'm like, man, how come these language skills skipped a generation? Or I couldn't even say it skipped a generation, it skipped me. It just skipped me specifically. I tried to learn these different languages. Like I said though, if somebody was having a conversation in French in front of me, I think that I would 50% of it. I would get the gist, because I have had somebody speaking about me in French unfavorably, and I understood a good little bit of it, and they didn't know. Mm, Rico's borders my parents' Guinea. You see here. I was shocked what I was. I wish my dad was alive to ask all about this. Yeah, it's interesting. I think things. interesting to know about our backgrounds. But anyways, I'm off this thing. Well, thanks for joining me for Mindful Reality After Dark. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified when I post more great content. Thank you.